Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles,
I'm Lydia Judy.
I'm Derrick Master.
and this is Scream Bloody Movies, the podcast where we review a horror movie each week, go over the horror news, and we also announce when or the actual location of the movie that we're premiering. So that's exciting. I have to do some math to remember when this is dropping. So
Yeah.
I don't know how long it is. Give me a minute, folks. I'll figure that out later. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. Just ate a bunch of food. Super full. Feeling great.
That's good. That's good.
I'm super fly.
For a white guy?
I was gonna say Jimmy Snuka, but whatever.
Oh, yeah. Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Don't go to hotel rooms with him.
Yeah, you might not come back.
No, that's terrible. That's terrible. We already started this episode off horrifically offensively. So...
Great start, guys.
Great start. I'm doing good. I'm excited for all the progress that's been made on the movie, how it's about to be out, and it'll be premiered, and then we'll announce after the premiere shortly where you guys can catch it on the interwebs and in the world at large. But we're having the premiere first. But so you guys, we've got to get to the horror news because I have a lot of horror news this week. It was a big day. We had CinemaCon happen yesterday, so we have a lot of new horror nuggets. So let's get into the horror news. The first bit I have here, we'll start with this. At CinemaCon, Jordan Peele debuts Nope footage to kick off the presentation. And it was a surprise. So it says here, he says, let's see if we get, the movie is coming out on July 2nd, of course. And the footage was just, he says, the discovery and the surprise of it is part of the fun at the brief Q&A, so he's not giving much away. Trailers will give you a taste, but we want to retain some of the mystery so you can be satisfied going into the damn movie, because he's Jordan Peele, so he talks way cooler than I do. So he did ask the audience to be discreet and not reveal any details of the footage. So we don't know what happened yet.
Wow.
But, that's cool, right? That we've starting to get a first look at that. Are you guys, you guys are excited about the release of Nope, yeah?
Yes, I'm so excited. I want to see it.
I'm excited to know what it's about.
I don't know that he's done a movie that I don't like.
No.
So far, he's done a really good job.
Both of his horror movies that he's released are good.
Yeah, I mean, Get Out was kind of iffy, but
Get Out? Get out of here. It's only critically adored.
It's like the best movie ever.
It took me a second because I thought you said Us. I was like, yeah, I can see that. Not a lot of people, not everybody loved Us. And then I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about?
I tricked you.
The only one that I wasn't in love with was the revamped Twilight Zone. All right.
I totally forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which is crazy. I started watching it.
You didn't know about that, Derrick?
No, I've never seen an episode.
Yeah, it's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I feel like I liked it,
but it's not the best. Like the first episode is, the concept's okay, but it's just way too long for everything, and I don't know. But yeah, there's a revamped version of the Twilight Zone. So, guys, another bit of horror sequel news. Wolf Creek 3 is definitely happening. Director Rochelle Wiggins assures us. What do you guys think of this?
Was the
That's
first
the one I
one
haven't seen.
set in Australia
Yeah, they're set in Australia.
with the Outback crazy guy?
Yeah, Outback
Oh
Crazy
wait,
Guy.
no, yeah, no.
Yeah, that movie was disturbing.
It is very disturbing. Yeah, she said that Wolf Creek 3 is definitely happening, and yes, there will be blood. So Rachel Wiggins says this. The Mick Taylor, the murderer of the series, is returning. This time around, it says an American family takes a dream trip to Australian outback and soon draws the attention of notorious serial killer Mick Taylor. A hellish nightmare ensues as the couple's 2 children escape only to be hunted by Australia's most infamous killer. What do you guys think?
Sounds pretty spooky.
Yeah, you've not seen Wolf Creek or Wolf Creek,
No.
Lydia?
I'm looking it up right now, and like the cover kind of looks familiar to me, but no, I haven't seen it.
We'll have
I
to
haven't
check
seen
that
the
out
second
sometime.
one.
Yeah, they're interesting movies. They're definitely, like you said, Derek, they're brutal, right?
Yeah, that first one is something else.
It's definitely something else. Let's stay on sequel track, and this was just announced today, hot off the presses. Warner Brothers announced that we are getting The Nun 2, directed by Michael Chaves. What are your guys' thoughts on a sequel to The Nun? You both seem underwhelmed.
Is it the same director?
No.
Who directed that first one? Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
It's allergy season, guys.
Yep, allergy season. The first one was directed by it's like on the tip of my tongue. I'm gonna have to look it up. Corin Hardy.
Okay.
Directed.
So I started to watch that movie and I haven't watched it all the way through, but I have seen some things on it, and it definitely is not. It didn't live up to the standard set by its predecessors.
Nobody lives up to the standard of James Wan except James Wan.
Right. True.
That is 100%
I mean, they
true.
had every chance. Man, that was the most disappointing thing to me was that movie. I think the first half of it was decent.
Yeah,
but
it's
the
solid.
end really. I mean, we'll get into that when we talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah. Are you excited?
Seeing that there's a second one coming out,
Yeah.
I'm just not excited for it because I'm like,
hey,
but maybe they'll do it. Maybe they'll do it right. Maybe they'll do it better.
Maybe they'll give Valak some justice.
Yes, I hope so.
Because the first Nun is a prequel to The Conjuring 2. It is a prequel to Conjuring 2. So it's a prequel to the first Conjuring, really.
Yeah, it's like the earliest
set of the Conjuring universe. Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe this one is more modern day, and we get to see the nun acting like the nun, but maybe not. I mean, it's kind of dead, right? Valak is kind of dead. I mean,
well, banished maybe.
Yeah, banished at least. I mean, she was defeated.
There's still a lot of time period in between there that we can work with. So,
ooh, guys, picture this:
post-apocalyptic, banished,
set in a post-apocalyptic setting. That's perfect. How could you go wrong?
And then while they're there, they run into Gabriel from the.
Yeah.
Gabriel has to fight off Valak.
Oh, there we go. There it is.
It's a one universe anyway.
Derek, you're a genius.
What do you think of that, Derek?
I guess.
Gabriel facing off against Valak.
Yeah, that can work. I like it.
He's so disappointed in his own idea. He's like, separately, I like them. When you combine them, doesn't do much for me.
He just really wants that post-apocalyptic to happen.
He does. He does. All right. This is interesting. There is a new movie coming out. It is called Wolf Manor. I'll show you the screenshot of it because you guys will want to see this.
Lydia's intrigue just peaked, I could tell.
It did. So, Wolf Manor, here it is. What do you guys think of that picture? Looks good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
It is described as a full throttle gore-filled tale of a film crew caught in the claws of a manor house's resident werewolf.
That'd be pretty cool.
Shooting a vampire flick in an old abandoned manor house should have worked like a dream, but the film crew is out of its depth, over schedule, and desperate to get the shoot finished. I've been there. However, as the moon turns full, the nightmare begins. Blood flows and the body count rises as cast and crew meet the manor's resident werewolf.
Nice.
What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Love
Sounds
it.
good.
Sounds really good.
The picture looked
Vampires,
great.
werewolves, and film crews. Come on.
I know. I kind of wish I would have thought of it. It's brilliant.
All you're missing is Frankenstein and a group of kids, and you have the Monster Squad.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. That's really cool. The werewolf looks good too, don't you guys think?
Yeah.
Oh man, how good would the Monster Squad be as like a TV show?
Really
It
good.
would be really good.
It'd be really good because they'd have Monster of the Weeks that they'd have to fight. And, yeah. Or a legacy sequel at this point would be cool.
That would be really awesome. I do it maybe as a mini series. That way you don't like kill yourself trying to.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could do like a Netflix
like
style
Stranger Things.
Yeah,
Stranger
6
Things
episodes.
style.
Yeah, 6 episodes a season. Something
That
like
would
that.
be sick.
Yeah. We'll be in touch with the Monster Squad on this new idea we have.
Yeah.
So, you guys, have you checked your watches, seen what time it is? Because it's definitely Monsters o'clock. Derrick,
Boo.
it's time for.
Can we just put some alarms in there?
We will. They're going to be in. Some patented monster news as Mr. Zombie shares new look at Sylvester McCoy as Igor. There he is. There's Igor.
Okay. You look
What do you
like
guys
a guy.
think? Yeah,
I
that's a
think
guy.
Rob Zombie just likes taking selfies with these characters.
Yeah, because he wants to be in their world. I don't blame
on,
him.
Rob.
Let's see, because I think he also
I don't blame
posted.
him.
Yeah, there it is. Also, Lily's werewolf brother Lester is in this, as played by Thomas Boykin. What do you guys think of that?
That looks pretty cool.
Hard to see, but
Yeah, definitely giving me like music video vibes.
Right there.
The
There you go.
neon colors and the lighting and the set.
oh, dude, they
kinda
totally ripped that off from Teen Wolf.
Yeah, it looks good though.
I think it
don't hate
looks
it.
good. Yeah. I think it looks pretty good.
When is this movie coming out? Come on. We gotta
This
freaking
movie
watch this
is
movie.
coming out on
In October.
I don't know. Hang on. I can't find the date right here. I'll find out for you.
We're gonna have to cover this movie immediately.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go see it opening night, Lydia. It doesn't say, it just says 2022. So, it tells us a lot.
He doesn't
so
even
far.
know.
Well, they are
Sometime
rapidly running out
in
of
late
time.
2022. Late 2022 is when we're getting it. So, there's that. And then, guys, finally, I wanted to end the horror news on some news here of the first footage of Halloween Ends was shown at CinemaCon.
Oh.
So it Jamie Lee Curtis introducing it says that it's Laurie Strode's last stand, and that the movie is going to fuck you up. So let's see what we have here. It serves as a tribute to the legacy of Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. It ends, uses footage from all the films to tie everything together. It ends with Jamie Lee Curtis fighting Michael Myers for the last time.
Oh,
I swear,
shit.
if she ends up being his sister, I'm gonna be pissed.
After all of this, says features a wild brawl between Laurie and Michael in a kitchen, fighting each other. Michael throws Laurie across the room. Laurie grabs a knife and stabs Michael through the hand. It ends with Laurie holding a knife over a trapped after a trapped Myers. So, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Are you just anticipation growing?
That's it. That's all.
That's
It's
all.
just
That's all we get. It's a teaser trailer, and we don't even get to see it. Just what they or online reactions.
Dang.
I
That's
know.
exciting. It's definitely exciting. It's scary.
Yeah, because it's almost
the
here.
Scariest.
Yeah.
Because we're just like, like going into the other ones, we're like, we know Jamie Lee Curtis isn't going to die in those.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. We know the shape is going to be all right. That was not what I was thinking at all.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, the shape's going to be fine. This one, I'm like, they better not kill the shape.
Yeah. It's like something, this is going to fuck us up and something crazy is going to happen.
Aliens, probably. Going to be revealed.
Michael Myers is an alien.
The shape is an alien.
He gets beamed up into a spaceship full of mask-wearing Michael Myers aliens.
Derek, what would you feel about that twist?
The alien twist?
Yeah.
I would, I don't know. I'd probably walk out.
Yeah, that would be pretty rough.
In the movie theater.
You know what? It'd be really dumb if, at the end of the movie, they, she's running from Michael Myers and she jumps over a fence and realizes that it's actually future and she's been living in, a society that's pretended to be the past.
Oh, my God.
Because that's a fucking stupid twist of an ending.
It's a wonderful twist of a movie. Thank you very much. It's a great thought experiment.
Are you making fun of The Village right now?
He is.
Jamie, we do not make fun of The Village on this podcast.
Whatever. Actually, you know what? I would rather live in that society than the one we've got right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, our society sucks, but we don't have weird people running around as creatures in the woods.
I wish we did, though.
Well, actually, that kind of parallels the current political divide in our system now.
True.
They're ruling by fear.
That's true. So that's
super relevant.
That's our horror news for the week. What do you guys think? You guys excited overall about all the new stuff that's coming out?
I will say this. That was the first time that I liked a picture that was of the Munsters. So
you liked you liked a couple of them. You liked the ones of them. You're still not feeling it, Derek? All right, let's get into tonight's feature presentation. The 2003, definitely early aughts. I mean, it's definitely early aughts. You can tell. 2003 horror flick, Darkness Falls. Let's start with you, Lydia. Is this the first time you've seen this movie? And if not, tell us your story.
No, I've seen it at least once before. I think this was just one of those movies that would just come on TV. So I think I probably watched it on TV, whatever channel with commercials and censors and all, you know. So that's my only memory of it. I honestly didn't remember much of it on this watch. Like I thought I would. Like I thought I knew what I was talking about, but I was like, oh yeah, I don't remember any of this.
Good thing you watched
Yeah. I think the beginning is probably the one thing that kind of stood out to me that I remembered, but like the rest of the movie I was kind of like on the edge of my seat, like, what is going on, you know? So yeah, that's my experience.
D, tell me.
The first time I watched this movie was over at Joey's mom's house when they lived on East Canal Street in Peru.
Here's a picture of Joey from those days. You know which picture we're putting up.
Of course. And yeah, so that was the first time that I had seen that because I was newly graduated from high school, and I'm pretty sure it was in the summer. I didn't go to the movie theater to see this one, and they had rented it, and we watched it, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, I've seen this movie. I think this is like my third or fourth time watching it, maybe fourth time watching it. Because it's one of those, like you said, Lydia, that's just on all the time. And when it came out, I rented it. I mean, it came out when I was a junior in high school. So I remember watching it as a senior when it came out on DVD, and I rented it because I thought the concept sounded cool. I watched it, and I liked it. And then it would just, I never like rented it again. It just happened to be on like HBO or regular TV or something like that. So I'd periodically watch it, and I revisit it quite a few times just because I really like the concept of it. And it's one of those that's an easy watch because it's like 97 minutes or something like that. It's pretty short, and it's a fast ride. So I just kind of kept coming back to it. So let's get into it. Let's start with this. This movie is definitely a product of its time. I mean, it is a early 2000s horror movie to the letter. Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I could have done different was put like a Fall Out Boy song in it, you know?
I thought they were going to.
Nailed that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were going to fog the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But luckily, they avoided the pitfalls of the fog and stayed on a little better course.
Because it was an original idea.
Yeah. And it's not, horribly compared to one of the best horror movies ever made.
Right, so, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it has its, those early 2000s, like musical score with a bunch of, just butt rock playing. And then you have some of those fast edits, those like, early edits and stuff like that. Quick cuts, bunch of quick cuts. And it is a PG-13 rated horror movie as well. So you have that going for it as well. But so it definitely has that flavor of that time. And I think that's, if I'm in the mood to watch a movie with that kind of just disposability and that kind of, I guess, lens, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I go back to this one because I think it's one of the stronger ones of that kind of.
I agree with that. I totally agree. This is a great example of that time for PG horror films. I mean, it was like, I was pretty young when it came out. I don't remember what grade I was in, but like I remember people talking about it, like people my age talking about it, being like, "Oh, it's so scary. Oh, the tooth fairy," all that. So it was, and people still, when you say the title, they remember, tooth fairy was really scary. Like that's what you think about. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you were saying about the beginnings, what you remember the most. The beginning of this movie is great. Derrick, you were talking to me earlier about your feelings on the opening of this movie.
Yeah, I love the backstory and this like little prologue that they give before the before they actually get into the film itself. and it does a great job of explaining the origin. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, and I think they do it with style too, right? So not
Oh yeah.
only is it just, like, oh, this is a really solid backstory for a monster, it's a really cool idea and the way it all kind of ties together to make it kind of flow is a cool idea, but they do it with some like really cool cuts and like visuals over top of it. And so basically this woman used to give money to kids for their teeth, and then she's horribly burned in an accident, so she wears a like mask over her face.
A
What would
porcelain
you call it?
mask.
Like porcelain? Yeah, porcelain mask over her face, and some kids go missing. So the parents rally around this woman in Freddy Krueger style and murder her, and for killing the kids. And then after they murder her, they realize that the kids are okay. They find the kids, and so she, of course, becomes a spirit of vengeance after that. And whenever you lose your last tooth, you're supposed to, if whenever you lose your last baby tooth, the tooth fairy comes to visit you, and if you peek her face, she kills you. That's a pretty solid like concept for a monster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to know the sad part about this is just knowing our history. You could totally see where like part of that could possibly be true.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the monster part.
People,
No.
yeah, people being accused of witchcraft. I mean, they totally
Oh
could have
yeah,
been like, "Oh, this lady, she's deformed, so she's now the outcast, and these kids went missing. It must be her, and
yeah.
they
Well, I mean,
lynched her."
we know it happened. I mean, it happened
Yeah,
during the Salem witch trials. I mean, that's
exactly. So
they're
that, I
just like,
mean, yeah, and I think that adds a lot of like, uh, I was gonna say texture, but that's definitely not the right word. It adds a lot of realism to the story and makes
it
it a little
grounds
bit
it.
more
Yeah,
believable.
grounds
Yeah,
it.
it
Yeah,
definitely grounds it for sure.
and so it makes it like it builds a good world building,
Mm-hmm.
because then when we're introduced to our main character Kyle as a young boy, we already know that this history, so we're already set up for it.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you guys think of Kyle's like the whole opening, like combined all of it? I think there's a really strong this is a really strong opening to a horror movie.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
wrote in my notes that like you really feel terrible for this kid by the end of like the opening
Mm-hmm.
because he had his entire life ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
His there's actually a good jump scare in the beginning of this movie
Mm-hmm.
where he's like walking past the window and boom, there's a young Emily Browning, I think is what her name is. But anyway, so there's a good
It's
jump scare, but
Caitlin.
like,
Caitlin Green. Emily
yeah, the
Browning
actual
plays the young
actress.
one. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I wrote down like this kid had his entire life ahead of him, and then this one night changed that forever.
Yeah, yeah. And not only did he lose his mom, but then he's outcast as, branded a murderer for something he didn't do, and then outcast as a crazy person after that. Um, so yeah, it's pretty strong. I love the little scene between
Mm-hmm.
Kyle and Caitlin. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
very sweet, and it's very
It is.
realistic. I feel like it's like that kind of awkward phase. You like the girl, and you getting the courage to ask her out finally, and then she's just. I love how she says, "I already told my mom that you're coming to pick me up around 7." And you're just like, "Oh,
That really shows like their relationship, and you immediately are like, they're so perfect for each other. Like, this is going to be a great relationship, and all this, and you're just like, yeah, they have like the rest of their lives and they're gonna go to the dance and you're so like hopeful and like full of just love for them. And then it just like ends immediately.
Yeah. I was watching it with Sarah, and she was like, she watched that whole scene, and then like the horror started, and she was like, uh, she's like, "Oh, that sucks. He's gonna die." She's never seen it. I was like, "You gotta watch." Um, but the scare with the Tooth Fairy is really good.
Yeah, it is.
The way the
Mhm.
tension builds up, um, and the design of the Tooth Fairy is pretty cool, don't you guys think?
I
Oh
agree.
yeah.
I
I
like the
really like
design.
it. I
Yeah.
like that she's so like wispy to the point where it's
Yeah.
almost like a like a Halloween, like
Yeah, like a Spirit Halloween
like
kind
a
of.
cape. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like looks so simple, but they do it so beautifully.
yeah,
And like the mask is just really terrifying when it's just looking right at you. You're like,
yeah.
"Oh
Because
no."
just
Like
blank. Yeah,
the way she moves, it like it's so unsettling, like
yeah,
animalistic almost.
yeah, and otherworldly at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
just
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. It's a cool. You know what? She kind of reminds me of the like a Dormantor,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which by the way, it was the worst part about prison.
Worst thing about prison was the Dementors. They were flying all over the place and they were scary, and then they come down and they suck the soul out of your body and it hurts.
So stupid. Um, but that shot when he's in the bathroom and he's surrounded by the light, and we pan up and we see her like above the door, and she just can't get in, and she's just waiting for him outside, is a great shot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That like there's something about that type of like phantom. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that is such a unique design that's like so classic that I feel like people don't use it
Enough.
you
Yeah.
know? Just that and the Dementors are a perfect example of how
Yeah.
well those can work.
Yeah.
Of course, this
You know.
seems more practical
Okay.
Oh yeah.
than, those are CG, like fully CG
Yeah.
characters, but I think this could be more practical in some points. What do you guys think? How did they do her?
Oh, I thought that they did her pretty well. I mean, it's not completely obvious that it's a CG character, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah,
adds a lot of.
just some of the flowiness, I think, but like I feel like the face
Yeah.
is there.
Yeah. I think there's definitely something I think there's probably something that they're interacting with puppet wise, I would imagine, or even actor wise. I don't know how they did it. I didn't look into
Yeah.
them.
I could tell there was some wire work going on in
Yeah.
some later
Mm-hmm.
scenes, but
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, she's a good villain. She's a good villain.
yeah, she is freaky. When she's in
The,
the tree,
oh yeah, when
I
she's in the
think that
tree
was the
later, is
scariest.
one of the best. Yeah.
She's like in the
So
woods, and I'm like, no,
one of
get
the
out.
one of the criticisms I have about the movie, and it's not a bad criticism, but one of them is that it does move. It moves fast, which is fine, but at the beginning of this movie moves a little too fast. I feel like, because we literally jump from her standing to this thing to her in the hospital, and it's like we supposed to know from that cut that it's her, which it relays visually. It
I
relays.
didn't. I totally didn't get it. It happened so fast. I thought it went from that little boy is now in the hospital, and that's like
You see, this is great.
his sister.
I'm
And
so glad you said
I
that,
totally missed it.
because Sarah said the same thing.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
like, so what's going on? I'm confused.
Yeah.
And because she's like, I'm confused, and I was like, what? That's her. Oh, I thought the boy was in the hospital. I didn't realize that it was a brother. I was like, yeah, it's kind of a little fast. It maybe doesn't quite translate. I mean, I got it, but I've also seen it a few times. But did you think that translated well, Derek?
I do think I thought it translated pretty well. because I also think that they say her name like immediately after.
They do. They do. Yeah.
But
we only heard her
thought there
name
was
like
a good.
once earlier, so
Yeah,
it's not like we're
exactly.
like real well versed in her.
I'm
Yeah.
terrible
Real
with
quick,
names
before
in
we
movies.
before we move away from that that opening scene, there's one shot that is so good, and that is when he's sitting in the bathtub and that camera is like starting to pull back, and you get that like half shot of the shower curtain
Mhm.
covering his face, and he's just kind of peeking out there with one eye, and then it pans up and you see her on the ceiling.
Yeah, it's great. And
That's
also in that opening, 'cause I think we could talk about this opening for a while because it's really suspenseful and scary. When the mom goes in to check on him, and she goes to show him that there's nothing in the room, and there isn't at first. And if she would have not looked in the mirror, she would have been fine because she only attacks you if you see her face. So, but she hears the noise behind her, looks in, and we see her reflection in the mirror, and she grabs her. I thought was really effective.
Yeah.
Really cool.
It's
So, yeah,
startling. Like it
startling.
actually is pretty scary because you're like, there's nothing there. She's not gonna believe him.
What do you guys think of? What do you guys think of adult? First, let's talk about adult Kyle. What do you guys think about him?
Well, we kind of talked about it last week, where we were talking about kind of basic like main characters.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
He's just kind of like a basic guy. Like there's nothing that's like he's a movie star actor or anything.
He's El Generico a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. But it kind of works at the same time.
Yes, I agree. What do you think, Derek?
So, I think he has his good moments in this movie and his not so good moments in this movie. So, like, for most of the movie, he's fine. But there's a scene in the hospital when he goes to visit the little boy that just like they had no chemistry whatsoever in this scene.
Yeah,
At
I
least
agree,
he
but
didn't.
I think that's purposeful at that point.
It might be
because
I
he's
didn't like that part.
Awkward himself, and he's trying to figure this out, and he's also trying to keep the kid at arm's length. He's trying to keep everybody at arm's length. So he's like trying to help him, but at the same time, he's just kind of like, look, here's a flashlight. I was afraid of the dark. You'll get over it, because he doesn't want this kid to know about the Tooth Fairy, because he doesn't know that he knows about the Tooth Fairy yet.
Yeah, I think the writing could have been a little bit better in that. Like, I agree with Derek that it's kind of like they could have just done a little bit more to make it more clear of what was going on. Like, it kind of came off as he really just didn't care.
Yeah, and that might
That's how I felt.
That might not necessarily be writing, but directing and the way it was blocked and executed.
True. Yeah.
And the choices of the performers as well, but that could be multiple different reasons. I agree that it's a little cold, but I kind of like that we had to have him, and it's part of his arc, and so he has to open up. But they definitely took some big swings with Kyle because, like we said, he's kind of generic lead man, but the first scene we see him is movie. It's so movie and so 2000. He goes into his house that has all lights, of course, and he has
painted white,
cartfuls of batteries, and
which we've seen before on this podcast.
Yes, we did
in Fear of the Dark.
We did in Fear of the Dark, yeah. So it's just that whole kind of thing. It's a big swing, but I don't mind his. I think that as the movie goes on, we get pretty good characterization of him. I kind of like his arc that he goes through, his journey to trying to escape this fear. But I think the problem is they do make him play it a little too stoic throughout it. You know what I mean? Like he's a little too,
Yeah.
like this throughout
It's
most of the movie.
yeah, I think that's what
He's
it is.
playing it a little too actiony. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
just a little too
yeah.
flat,
For
purposely.
someone who
But
is
that's the
like,
archetype.
it's frustrating too. Like there are little things with like, because one, he didn't murder his mom.
Correct.
So there should have been an investigation that was like, there's no way this kid could have murdered his mom that way, blah blah blah.
I think
All
they
of this.
do. They just don't know how she died. But he's
Right.
still the rumor mill is still that he killed his mom through the
Right.
town.
Because exactly, because he got out. But he is
Yeah.
on all these meds that
Oh right,
is
and
kind of
we see that through extreme 2000s editing that he's on
yeah.
meds.
Yep. And that's one of the most frustrating things to me is these like the doctors in the movie.
Yeah.
Did you guys think that? Because I was like, these doctors are so unrealistic.
The doctors are kind of like like yeah, there's some definitely problems with the docs because it's almost like an anti-doctor movie. I feel like yeah,
Yeah.
like just
I mean, yeah, it's weird. It shouldn't be it because they're not actually crazy.
no,
That's
no,
the
they're not
frustrating
crazy.
part.
But the thing is, like realistically, yeah, you would do these things because you're supposed to. And in real life, they would be crazy. But we know they're not crazy because we've seen the supernatural, right? We've seen
Yeah.
the Tooth Fairy. But yeah, they took some big swings with Kyle, and I mean, overall, I like him. I think he's a solid lead.
Yeah.
But he's not as charismatic as like an Ash or somebody like that. Somebody that you root for. You want to see succeed because you just care about them so deeply
Yeah.
because
Just
they
a
entertain
regular
the shit out
dude.
of you or something. But I do like. I mean, I guess they play him that way so you could see him as your avatar going
Yeah.
through it. You know what I mean? Um, and then Caitlin, what do you guys think of Caitlin?
Is that the actress from The Fog? I just have to ask. I didn't look it up.
No, it's not.
It's not
Okay.
She
Maggie
was on
Grace.
Buffy.
No.
She looks so much like her to me.
She
Like,
does
who is
actually.
this?
She does kind of look like Maggie Grace a little bit. Yeah. She's from Buffy, Derek.
Yeah,
Huh?
she was on Yonka. She joined in like season 3.
Oh,
Maybe
did
that's
she?
where I recognize her.
Hmm
I thought she looked really familiar. I was just like, who is this girl?
She was in a
But
really weird movie called Timer. But
Oh, I remember that movie. Who's in that?
it's her and the um like teenage Ashton Kutcher from the Butterfly.
Right, right. So, but what do you guys think of her?
I'm looking her up right now.
Derek,
Okay,
what do you
let's
think?
see.
I thought she did a pretty good job.
I think the
Yeah,
actress did fine. How do you think she's written, and what do you think of her character?
she could have been more interesting. I do think the actress did a good job with what material that she was given,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you're right. So there's just it does move too quick.
Yeah,
It just moves
there's
too
no
quick.
breathing room.
And then when she meets Kyle again, because they've I think been separated for 12 years,
Yeah,
she's just
yeah.
like, oh, give this stranger a hug. And,
Yeah, well, it's weird that she calls him kind of like that's kind of a
yeah,
leap,
how did she get
right?
his phone number?
I'm guessing she had a private investigator find him because she said you're a hard man to track down. That's what I would guess.
Yeah.
She just meant the phone book, I think.
Well,
But
because
hey,
Like, I
he's
have a
in
hard
Las
time with the phone
Vegas.
foster
book.
system, and then they moved to Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Vegas. Vegas, baby.
I mean, that's a smart
Yeah.
move. It's the
It is weird.
city that
Always
is
lights.
lit.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I never
Yep.
thought of that.
Yep.
Um,
Go ahead, Lydia. What do
Although
you think of her?
yeah, I don't know. I think she did fine. I think it's weird that her character, they were so close in that scene when they were kids that they're already like kind of finishing each other's sentences in a way, that they're just like kind of destined to be together, and that when she sees him again or gets a hold of him, they don't have that like same connection, which is realistic, but that's not
Yeah.
exactly what you expect from this kind of movie.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
want them to like fall in love immediately, you know,
yeah, there's some
like fix
connection.
this together.
There's some connection, but yeah, I think that's due to chemistry, maybe chemistry problem in the with the actors. And they have to kind
He's
of grow
way out
back
of his
together. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Hey, I don't think what's his name?
I'm just kidding.
Channing Clay did too bad.
No, yeah. I
mean,
don't
he's
think
kind of discount Ryan Reynolds a little bit, but he's kind of like the Dollar General version.
Right.
Ryan Reynolds. But, yeah, I mean, I think he did great. But so, like, we were talking about the speed of this movie. So Kyle goes in, meets the kid, meets her like kind of boyfriend, or friend that definitely wants to be your boyfriend from school, who we've never met, by the way. He was a lawyer. And then he invites him to go get a beer.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't drink. He's like, come on, I haven't seen you in a long time. And then what do you guys think of this bar scene? I really have some things to say about this bar scene. Yeah.
Yeah. It's irritating. That guy is so pushy, and it's so, like, it's frustrating.
Yeah, when he tells him he doesn't drink, and then shows him his medicine and says he can't, he still gets them 2 beers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like he's asking for trouble.
See this.
Yeah.
You don't usually see this scene with 2 men, I feel like. I feel like it's usually like a man trying to get a woman to drink.
Maybe that's what he's trying to do. We don't know his history.
Well, you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
and
it's just such a forceful thing to do, to like just keep pushing someone to, like, and I think he's trying to get in his head and like peer pressure him and be like, that's my girl, and you ruined it for everyone. That everyone wanted to date her, but she could only think of him.
He's definitely jealous because he's like he says later in the movie, he's the ghost.
Yeah.
Because she never got over him. Because he's the one. He's her lobster. As Phoebe would say. Holding the claws. So yeah.
One thing that we didn't mention that's like super obvious.
Uh-huh.
Who would live in a town called Darkness Falls? I would have moved out of there ASAP.
Yes.
Well, to be fair, I think we would move into a town called Darkness Falls.
I mean,
I probably would.
You're not wrong.
I'm just thinking, like, who named the town that? Like.
Not the best name. Didn't think about that too much. Didn't think about that too much. You could
go with Darkness Falls, or you could go with Sleepy Hollow. Like.
We're thinking about naming it Murder, Death, Kill Rate, but we thought that might be a little too much.
We could have called it Death Town.
Yeah. Or Killville.
Killville.
Welcome to Killville.
Yeah.
So on the court, we're on the county line with Death Town. But yeah, you're right, Derek. That's a good point. Jinx. So yeah, this scene, like you said, is interesting. And then but it's so frustrating once random stereotypical bully pops in, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in the bar.
Yeah, yeah.
Which we recognize him from other things.
Yes, he is from Insidious.
Yes, he is.
And he's great in Insidious.
And he's in some other things too.
Mm-hmm. He's the
one of the ghost hunters.
the bearded guy of the Ghost Hunters.
Oh, he is, yeah.
He's a completely different character in this one.
Yeah.
I just don't get this dude. I mean, we know that there's jerks. We know. We've seen them. But this guy takes it to another level. He's just like, hey, I'm gonna kick your ass, bro, for no, no
Because
reason.
he's a drunk jerk, there's a difference.
And he's just like, nah, I'm cool, man. And so the worst part of it is he balls him out, makes fun of him, and instead of fighting, and throws beer at him. And then instead of fighting back, he goes outside. Kyle goes outside to get some fresh air, and the dude just tackles him off of a fucking hill.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they shot this thing in the same place where Chris Farley falls down in Banshee.
It's a pretty steep hill that they're tumbling down.
They're still falling to this day.
To this day. I mean, good job to those stuntmen because...
Yeah. But why would he, why? I mean, I guess he's drunk. I guess he's drunk, but he's like, you know what will get at this guy? I'm just going to tackle him off of this hill. Again, for no reason. Not really. But
and they all think that he killed his mom.
Yeah.
But it's for no real reason.
Yeah. He's got the hero complex of that guy is a murderer, so I'm going to pummel him,
Yeah.
I'm going to make his life hell, and it's just
not pretty sure it already is. So yeah, just back off.
Yeah.
But man, when he
gets what he's gonna go with.
Yes, because this is that shot you were talking about where the Tooth Fairy is in the trees and he tells him not to look. Don't look. And he looks up and sees the freaking Tooth Fairy in the tree, and it's creepy. It's a really good shot.
I love that shot.
And then the one other thing I will say about this movie that is slightly annoying, which is fine, it's a PG-13 rated horror movie, but all the deaths are really just people getting pulled out of frame.
Yeah.
That's how Phantoms kill people.
Yeah. It's just literally it's like that one scene in Dead Silence that we hate, just over and over again. Where he pulls fucking Marky Mark's brother out.
Yep. That was actually better than these deaths. He just keeps coming in.
Yeah, it was worse than it.
All over the place.
Yeah. Does that terrible thing that we hate?
That was so bad.
Yeah, it's one of the worst parts. That's the worst part of that whole movie. But so yeah, it starts to get crazy after this point. He's of course on the run, and then we get the doctor scenes with Caitlin and her brother. What's her brother's name? What's the little boy's name? It is Michael. And so they're going to put him basically first before that scene happens. Again, he gets arrested by the police because he shows up at the hospital. They have a little dialogue, and then the police come and arrest him. And they're not giving him any this interrogation scene is infuriating because they really have no evidence that he killed him.
Yeah.
And also, he was attacked. So, if anything, it could be self-defense. They have the whole bar as witnesses that he attacked him. So it's okay. And this police officer is a good old boy sheriff that's just all well, I believe that if somebody's on antipsychotics, that's to keep them from being psychotic. It's that's the worst knowledge of how the human condition works and about how medicine works. I hate you.
Yes, it's cringy. It's the same thing with the doctor characters. Like I said, it's just they're not as the characters don't have any depth to them. They're just basic.
They're cardboard. They're there to serve a purpose. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the doctors. There's the one doctor that just comes up from upstate to
Oh yeah.
recommend the basically
Deprivation
deprivation therapy. Yeah, to put him in the dark to face his fear. Exposure therapy, essentially.
That's the thing that really got me the most. I was like, no, 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 no.
It's a terrible idea.
No.
It's a terrible idea.
I don't think a doctor would do that to a child.
Not the best. Well, at least definitely not. To be fair, no, we do know how long it's been, right? It's been like 10 days. It's not like they've been working with this kid for like, a year or like 4 months or 6 months, and they haven't had a breakthrough, so they're going to try this extreme. They're like, it's been like a week and a half. Let's go fucking guns blazing on this.
Well, because the kid, the kid sees the thing and it scratches his arm open. So they're like, okay, so maybe he is psychotic, maybe he's having these, these symptoms, and we need to get him on some medicine. And then, oh, by the way, we're just going to throw him in the dark before we know, how the medicine is reacting with him, or, if the medicine is working. We're just going to before we do that, let's just put him in the dark and just force him there. Just strap him in.
Yeah,
He's self-harming right now, but throwing him in the dark is going to help.
Yeah. It's like they just don't. Yeah, it's a pretty extreme. Pretty extreme. It's such a quick
scene.
Yeah.
They needed that, but in my head it made no sense at all.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, here, what's great is that as soon as he gets out, they take all of his flashlights as evidence. So immediately when he gets out, he goes to, I don't know, like a sporting goods store, and it's like, I need to load up on more flashlights. And we get like another cool montage of their weapon of choice, flashlights.
Yeah.
And then old boy's like, do you want a gun? And he's like, nope. So he's like, well, here's the keys. I'm going to leave unattended for you. I'm going to walk over here for no reason.
Well, not only that, isn't it against, either way, you wouldn't have a loaded gun in a store.
No, absolutely
so
not.
He would.
Well, I don't think the gun
and the bullets.
I don't think the gun is loaded, right? Because all he does is hold it on the guy as fear. Yeah. He never fires it. So it might be an unloaded gun. He just uses it to kind of get what he wants. But no, you're absolutely right. No way. Even in 2003, they would never have a loaded gun in the cabinet just waiting for somebody to take. But
like maybe in the 80s.
Well, yeah, definitely in the 80s. I mean, we know Dick Miller runs into Arnie at the gun store, and it doesn't turn out very well in the Terminator. So
I like how Derrick is taking these little micro naps.
Yeah, I know.
He needs a Red Bull, I think.
Okay. I'm here.
So,
I'm here.
You keep responding and making sense so far, so we're just gonna let you.
Yeah. When Lydia went on her deprivation tank thing, you for sure like dozed off. You went.
You looking at my turn yet?
Yeah, I watched you wake up and then register what's going on. I looked at you and started laughing. I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway.
Right, wakey time.
Wakey. So, so they're like on their way to the, he wants him to take him to the hospital, and he's taking him the opposite way. Like leaving town, he's like, as your lawyer, I think you need to lay low for a while. But mostly it's so you stay away from my girlfriend.
Right.
What I get from the whole conversation.
So stupid. Ugh, so frustrating.
Yeah, so he pulls the gun on him. The Tooth Fairy like comes in front of the car and like causing the wreck. Is that what it was? Like she flashes in front of it? Yeah.
That's what I got.
Yeah, because it's kind of clunkily edited that bit. So she they crash the car. He fucking flies straight out of the window, man.
Yeah,
He needs to be wearing a seatbelt, first of all.
No seatbelt there.
And I feel like he would have been a little more fucked up.
I feel that way too.
Now, granted, Ash flew out of the window in Evil Dead 2, but Ash is Ash. He's the chosen one.
Right. And I mean, like, Wolverine flies out of the car and, X-Men.
He's Wolverine.
He was pretty messed up, too. Luckily, he can heal.
Yeah, he was pretty messed up in the first X-Men. You're right. When Sabretooth throws the thing, yeah. Welcome to Screen Bloody X-Men. We discuss...
It's always, car crashes are such a touchy thing in movies. Like, some of them are, like, a little too good, and some of them are like, but...
Yeah, this one was fine. It was a good car crash. And, because this movie felt like it was, I mean, what's the budget for it? It felt like the budget was on screen. It was only $11 million, but it looked even bigger than that $11 million, I think. I think they did a great job with the look of this movie, for sure.
With that. Yeah. I would have thought they put $30 million in this movie.
Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? Like the way it's shot and stuff. And it's big. There's some big stuff.
Shot this movie. Yeah, but everything, all the scenes, like, were very appropriate. Sorry, here, let me rewind that. So, I don't know where they shot the movie, but like the hospital, I don't know. I lost my. We'll move on.
So
anyway, it looked better than 11 million.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, the lighthouse, I mean, what a cool set.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is they used, really the movie's only shot in a couple locations, right? I mean, there's the town scenes, but there's the hospital, the house, but really, yeah, and those are just little locations. But the majority of it is the big set pieces are the hospital, the police station, and the lighthouse.
Yeah.
Or three big. So let's get into that police station scene. Actually, when the Tooth Fairy attacks the police station, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
She wrecks them.
Yeah, she wrecks them. Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid scene.
I do too. I think it's solid. I think it's fine. And I'm being like just nitpicky about little things, but like, and it's mostly just the story for me. It's like, I do love the line that the guy is like, all this over a tooth.
Yeah.
Oh, when they're in the lighthouse.
She wrecks the entire police station, and the guy's like, for a tooth, man.
Yeah, all of this for a tooth.
But it's just like, there's something about like, everyone can see her. Like,
yeah, and everyone's supposed to see her. They just, if they look, they're not supposed to look at her because she only comes for that.
Sneaky.
Yeah, so if they were to just close their eyes, then she wouldn't attack them.
Right. They all try to look at her.
Yeah, they all try to see what they are. Naturally, because that's what you do if something's coming for you, right? You try to see what it is. But I like the suspense of the scene. Slowly, the lights go down, and he's losing light. Like the one light's going out, and then he has just a flashlight on him. I think those bits are really cool, where he has to just stay in the light to be safe. And there's that cool moment where the Tooth Fairy's coming for Kyle when he's unprotected, and the sheriff shoots, and the sparks hit her, and it lights up, so it's enough to make her fly away.
Yeah, I like that too. That was a cool effect.
I like the whole police station scene because it's really fun. It's kind of like it's a spiritual predecessor to the police station scene in *Malignant*, where Gabriel just fucks everybody up.
Yeah.
But it's the less gory.
That.
Yeah, it's the less gory predecessor to that.
I was kind of feeling like supernatural vibes.
Yeah, it has some supernatural feel. Yeah,
A few like police station scenes in Supernatural.
yeah, which
could think
probably
of.
pulled from this as well. Yeah.
There's a scene in the movie where they have gotten out of the sheriff's station and the hospital, and they're headed towards the lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the cops is like, "Why don't we just keep going?" She then pulls him out of the window, and he dies. But he's like, "Why don't we just keep going?" So here's my theory. I think her curse just pertains to when you're in the town.
And Darkness
Because
Falls.
it almost seems like, because he was not adopted, he was in the foster system, and then they moved out of state and went to Las Vegas, and because it almost seems like she's out for vengeance specifically for him.
She is, because he's the one that got away. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, and
that's
it's like
more or less
I
why
mean,
she's
yeah,
so cavalier about
he
trying to
stayed.
get him.
Yeah, and he stayed in the light during that whole time, but it doesn't look like he's ever seen her until he goes back to Darkness Falls. You might be right.
Yeah.
You might be right.
She seems pissed.
So this hospital scene, let's talk about it because it also rules. I absolutely love the hospital scene where they're trying to avoid the tooth fairy when the power goes out. It is so good. I mean, the elevator scene is pretty cool. We've seen that a million times. But what is
That's
great,
the scariest thing.
to me, my favorite part of this whole scene is when they have to stay in the light and it's like on the stairs. Such a cool idea. Such a cool concept.
That's your favorite scene?
I love it. I love just the concept. It's very video gamey. I love this. That's my favorite scene in the hospital. Is where they have to jump the stairs. Because it's unique. It's a unique thing, you know.
I thought it was hilarious, honestly. I was like,
It
that's
is funny,
the funniest thing. It's so much like, I mean, it was so like Doctor Who to me.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like these characters are clearly just here to get eaten by this.
Oh yeah, those other characters are definitely just there to be killed. They're body count characters.
Yeah.
But it's super fun still.
Yeah. I couldn't help but laugh and just like try to. I definitely was comparing it to Doctor Who every once in a while because of like there are characters in Doctor Who that are like, you know, they can't be in the light or they can't look at them and stuff like that, you know. So I was just like kind of thinking about that sometimes.
I love that because I love the way it's lit. I love the way that they light the scene with the stairs and there's just specific points of light.
Spotlights.
Yeah, and I also really like the time, you know, like the time sensitive nature of these lights are turning down. They only have X amount of time to get out. And there's the great bit where they have to walk through like the hallway and have to stay in the light as they're creeping down. It's just it's fun, just silly, hokey, fun stuff. What do you guys think of the hospital scene
as a whole? My other nitpicky thing, I'm sorry, I'm so nitpicky about this, but she keeps casting shadows.
Yeah.
And that means she has to be in the light to cast the shadow.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So
that was just like a minor thing.
There is. Yeah, that's true. What do you think of the hospital
scene? And then
scene,
it's like, where do the rules go? Because I mean, moonlight is just like being reflected.
yeah, it technically is light. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same.
There's kind of technically ambient light everywhere. I think it's like literal light is what it seems like.
Yeah.
Anything above like 20 watts.
I know it's like it's ridiculous to nitpick about something like this character's, you know. Rules,
what do you think of the hospital scene, Derek?
I think it's a lot of fun. It's very suspenseful, and mainly for a lot of the things that you mentioned, right? Having to stay in the light, like when they're against the wall in the the basement, and they're trying to get out there, and then like at the very end where the lights do go out, and she's ready to pounce, and then boom, through the like the front doors comes that car with the the headlights and
Yeah. And
gets her.
yeah, and then when they're on their way to the lighthouse, it's cool that they have the sirens on top to kind of keep her at bay, but she starts attacking towards them as they rotate. So she's taking them out as they rotate, so that way she can attack the car. And then of course they put the torch at her and she runs away. What do you guys think of the finale, the lighthouse finale?
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's very powerful because, like, what is more powerful than a lighthouse? There are things, but relatively speaking, it's fairly powerful.
Lighthouses. Yeah, I agree. I really like lighthouses.
What's more powerful than a lighthouse? Well, a lot of things, really.
It's the symbolism of a lighthouse.
Yes,
totally.
Is what's the powerful thing, I think.
Yeah.
Well, and that lighthouse could also have been around in a different form. It would have been lit by candlelight or what have you. But like that lighthouse would date back to probably when she was alive. So there's like a connection there. But yeah, it's one of the more powerful lights they have access to. And then, just how suspenseful it is that it gets right to the end and it makes her disappear, but we find out it doesn't actually kill her.
Yeah, because of it's like her, because their mask is kind of covering her. And I think that's part of it too. Like her body is hurt by it. And what's really cool is that I like the suspense of, they're like, well, we have it. Everything's good to go. But there's a leak in that hose.
Yeah.
And they have to go down to fix it. And I love the image of him trying to, like, tie this rag around this hose just to get it to hold. Because if there wasn't this leak, they would have been fine to be there for a while. They could have lasted all night and then figured out what to do the next day. But since that doesn't happen, the cop unfortunately gets killed because he doesn't stay in the light. And then, Kyle's nearly killed from it and gets messed up pretty good. Has to go up, and we have that great suspenseful scene where the light goes out in the whole thing. And Michael has just the glow stick. And there's a wonderful shot where they have it lit up with the glow stick and you see her outside the window floating by. Such a cool shot. What do you guys think of the way that she's defeated?
I'm trying to think of how she was defeated.
So
I remember the
takes
light
her mask off.
and
yeah, so the light hits her. It makes her disappear.
Yeah, but she comes back.
She comes back. He takes her mask off, and because they're fighting, and he grabs the mask and it breaks. So then he lights his arm on fire.
Yeah.
Because it's covered in gasoline, and he punches her with it, and basically takes back his fear, and hits her with it, and then she gets engulfed in flames, and she's donezo. What do you guys think of that climax?
It's gross.
Her face is good, right? Her face looks good.
Oh, her face is great.
Yeah. Stan Winston.
And I love the mask. I think the mask is really eerie. The gross part is when it falls down and it shatters and all those teeth come out of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, a really good idea.
It was
a
good idea.
Has a lot of good ideas. Yeah. And then, her actually being burnt and everything is good, so we get a closure to their story. But as I was talking about this movie, the way it just moves, we cut immediately from there to just another kid. So we don't really find out what happens to them. It's no, we don't get usually we get an epilogue with those, with those characters we made it, we're fine, blah, blah, or let's move on to this. I mean, hell, even in Children of the Night, we get our heroes walking down and seeing the mailman.
It's true.
Anyway, we can just bring the mailman in.
I was thinking about it. So this one is weird because we cut to like a completely different kid, and he's, his dad's tucking him in, and he has his tooth under there, and he gives him a kiss and tells him not to peek, leaves, and then we get a fake scare with the mom, which is actually a pretty solid jump scare. And then she's like, don't peek, does the whole thing, and so we get that jump scare. What do you guys think of this ending, like this epilogue?
I don't know how to feel about it. I guess I thought it was good. I thought it was fine. I was like, well, this is how they ended it. Like that's just I just like accepted it.
Yeah. All right.
I didn't think too much about it. I was like, yep, she's get this. We don't know what's happening, so I guess that's it.
It kind of does keep you guessing.
It does, because
like,
it really doesn't. It really doesn't answer it either way, does it?
No.
So you could technically make a sequel because we don't. The Tooth Fairy doesn't get a chance to get the tooth, right? Because the mom already does it, and then we cut before the Tooth Fairy can even visit. So we don't know if that really happened or not.
Yeah.
So, or if the death worked or not. I like to think that it did. I like to think that they defeated her.
Yeah.
Mainly because
I think that too.
Since we didn't get a sequel, we might as well think that. You know what I mean? And they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't sequel bait us. They didn't set up a sequel. So. Yeah.
They were like, okay, we'll take the tooth. Like.
Yeah.
And that just reminded me that Jake was like, what was that? Like just a quarter?
Yeah, dude, I thought the same thing. I was like, man, cheap ass parents.
I was like, I feel like I just got a quarter for my teeth. And
we got like, dollars.
I got
in the HiLa's household.
He was like, I got.
Maybe it was a silver dollar.
He said, I got $3.75 one time. What?
Exactly. $3.75 once.
Well, like, like a quarter or like a silver dollar, yeah.
I think my mom used to give us $1, and my dad and mom would as well. Like we'd get $1, a couple dollars, depends, for the Tooth Fairy. But I never definitely got a quarter, I can tell you that. Well, I mean, back in the 90s, you could buy a Coke with a quarter. I mean, even in 2003, you couldn't. You couldn't go to a machine. Yeah, you couldn't go to a machine with a quarter, could you? In 2003, you'd have to have at least 50 cents.
Not with a quarter. You could do it.
Yeah.
Like, I think they were like 75 cents at that point.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, you're right. 75 cents.
Like right out of high school.
Yeah, you're right. Wow. Parents, maybe the Tooth Fairy should come and visit them.
Hey, what would you guys think of a sequel to this movie called Darkness Falls, Easter Sunday? You know what I'm saying?
Do tell.
Well, yeah, you'd have a play on the Easter Bunny as a killer bunny. Yeah.
Killer ghost bunny.
Yeah.
Killer zombie bunny. Killer were bunny.
Could have been like a guy who dressed up as the Easter Bunny in the 70s, and they lynched him because they thought he hurt one of their kids, and it still plays on the same trope, just a different.
Back in the 70s, there's this guy named Bunny Johnson. He used to dress up as a bunny for no reason, really.
His name was Peter Cottontail.
He liked to diddle kids. So he was axed, but he really didn't do anything wrong. So.
And now he haunts people's Easter baskets.
Interesting. I don't know what a sequel to this movie would look like, to be honest. I mean, you'd have to bring the Tooth Fairy back because she's so cool, right? You'd have to bring her back.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you bring back any of the main characters. You'd have to, I think, start from scratch, right?
Yeah.
Just a whole new batch of characters.
I mean, if you were
bring
going to do it
back
now, you could
the
totally
little
bring
brother.
back that little boy. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
As
yeah.
an older character that's helping someone else.
Yep, that would actually work. Yeah. That would
Whenever
work.
I bring back Anyanka,
Hmm.
that was her name in Buffy.
Oh, okay.
We're just like, yep.
Whoever that is.
I loved her character in Buffy because she hadn't been human in like centuries, and so like she was a demon, and then she got turned back into a human. So she
Interesting.
like didn't lie. She just like let it fly. Anyway, different podcast.
Yeah. It's our Buffy podcast that we film after we do Indiana Jones and podcasts and our other ones. What are our other ones that we do a lot of them now?
Yeah, we got plenty.
We got plenty to do. Oh, the James Bond one. There's a James Bond one.
I was going to say Bond.
Yep. So guys, that's Darkness Falls. What are you guys' thoughts? Let's start with you, Derek.
So I have a soft spot for this movie. I don't think it's scary necessarily. Like I don't.
I think
get
it probably
the
was
same
if you were little. Yeah.
It definitely would be if you were little, and it also plays on that character that's so wholesome. There's a line in the Conjuring movies where it's a perversion of like something innocent, right? Because who hasn't heard of the Tooth Fairy? And then they flip this on its head and use it as a scary trope. But it's a good story. A little too fast paced. You're right. I think they could have made a longer movie and slowed it down a little bit.
Let it breathe a little.
Yeah. But they definitely had some great ideas for scenes that worked really, really well. I think chemistry could have been a little bit better with some of the actors. But all in all, I think it was a pretty decent movie.
What are you going to give it?
I'm going to give this movie a 7.
What do you think, Lydia?
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of those points. I think the characters could have been maybe a little bit more developed, but I'm not sure it would have made too much of a difference. I guess the thing is that nowadays we're kind of spoiled by these shows with like amazing writers and amazing actors that really bring just all the depth in the world to a character that isn't real, so we're kind of spoiled with that. But and that's the thing that I love about this movie is that it's just like a simple, just PG-13 horror movie. It's just simplified in every way, but it's got some good stuff in it. I think that's what really matters. But I think I'm going to give this one a 6 because I wouldn't necessarily probably recommend it to a lot of people unless they were like specifically that younger age group or like looking for, this vibe that we are all getting kind of nostalgic for of these like silly 2000s simple horror movies. It's a vibe for sure.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for this movie as well. That's why I picked it. I was like, I just want to do a movie that's not a classic or anything, not something that I hold in super high regard, but a movie that if it's on, I'll watch it. I'm not like, oh God, this one, let's turn it. If it's on, I'll be like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. And this is a fun one that way. And I think I'm going to give it a 7 as well, just because I think that I would recommend it to young people getting into horror. I think this is a good starter horror movie. I do, because there's a lot of problems with it, like I said, but it's not. It's definitely well shot. It's not horribly shot like some early 2000s movies. It looks nice. It also doesn't look too generic like just every single other movie. It has its own it has its own style and its own charm. And the story is cool. I feel like it has a cool story. So I'd say I'd give it a 7 on this watch. I was leaning more towards a 6.5 before I did this last watch, and I was like, I just kind of like it. I kind of like just the no frills. It knows what it is. It's doing what it wants to, entertain the audience, have fun, leave the theater with the smile on your face kind of movie. And I mean, sometimes I'm in for that. I mean, if I'm watching a slasher movie, that's what I'm there for, to have fun. So I give it a 7. I like it. I think it's a solid little 2000s movie. And it is a vibe. You're absolutely right, Lydia. It's totally a vibe. And it's like a vibe I think we'll revisit before too long again. Because, I mean, this is the first one of those movies second one technically after The Fog.
Yeah. Well,
but
we
this
did
is
Dead Silence as well.
We did Dead Silence, which is also very much, the same vibe.
Definitely the same vibe, and it's
a little better.
Like,
Dead Silence is better, but
yes, like these are like on the line of being that 2000s vibe without being bad.
yeah, they're the good version of that vibe. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. All right,
good job,
Lydia.
guys.
Lydia, it is your turn to pick. Well, before we pick, we've got to aconize this movie.
Thrill me.
This one, guys, who's Tom Atkins going to play? Well, got it. Let's replace Kyle with Tom Atkins.
Perfect. Deal.
What do you think, Derek? You're muted, BT Dubs.
I almost made it through an entire episode. Almost.
You almost did.
I might have dozed off once or twice, but I had muted myself. No, that would make the movie better. I was gonna go with the cop, the sheriff, but
which he
if
always
we're trying to make the movie better, I think we go with.
Yeah, because we can do any. The rule is we can do any era Tom Atkins. So I think young Tom Atkins as that character would be cool, right?
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
He would have way more
charisma,
chemistry.
Yeah. Tom Atkins as Kyle. Love it. Now, Lydia, it's your turn to pick. What are we going to watch next week?
So I'm going to go with a classic. All right, we're going to do American Werewolf in London.
Nice. John Landis's classic.
Yes.
American Werewolf in London. I am excited too. Mm-hmm. Let's see where American Werewolf in London is streaming. It is currently streaming on Peacock, if you have Peacock. It is on the Roku channel, and you can rent it from YouTube, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, or Vudu. So watch that one before next week so you can join us in our discussion on American Werewolf in London. I'm excited to talk about this one. This is, we really need to watch it for some, reasons. So we need to get into it.
I've got a lot of thoughts on this movie.
A lot of thoughts. So guys, by the time this episode airs, the premiere will be in 2 weeks, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so we'll be premiering the movie at the Roxy in Peru. And so we're about to premiere it and then get that ready to go out into the world. And then we will start working on the next project, which we have 2 on the horizon, a smaller one and then a great big one. So stay tuned for updates on those, and stay tuned for updates on Secret Admirer. That is about to be released, guys. It's about to be released. How excited are you guys?
I'm so excited.
I'm excited.
I told him earlier, I was like, I want to scream, but it'll blow out everyone's eardrums right now. So.
I'd scream, but there are babies asleep.
Yeah, and you'd probably wake yourself up.
Oh my god. You know where I went wrong? Last night
Where?
I stayed up until like 11 o'clock. I was working. And then Ellie got up for a feeding at like 1 o'clock. And then we got up at 5 to just start the day. That's where I went wrong.
That is where you went wrong.
I shouldn't have worked last night.
Nope. But you'll get some more sleep tonight because we are wrapping up this episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, follow us on social media.
Comment.
Definitely comment. We need some interaction. Comment.
I need to tell the underwear story.
Derrick needs to tell the brown short story. We need to know good things for Derrick to eat to make him less sleepy during podcasts. We need suggestions from you, which movies to watch next. So let us know what would you like us to watch next, and then we'll throw your guys' suggestions into the mix as opposed to just what we're going to do. So be sure to follow us online at HiLaProductions.com, where you can view all of the previous shorts. We have the archive of the episode notes, and join us on Facebook at HiLa Productions, where we post all of the updates for the upcoming Secret Admirer premiere and all of our movie update news, and new episodes of this podcast, of course, are linked to there. You can follow Derrick on Twitter at DDogleyMaster. You can follow Lydia at LydiaIsSpooky, and you can follow me at Racket. Anything else you guys want to add before we sign off? Nope. All right. Well, don't be killing. Don't be killing. Skills that skills. Be sure to put that tooth under the pillow and don't peek, because the tooth fairy might be coming for you. For Derrick Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies. Good night.